We have a public comment on item 4E. Katie Taylor. E.
If it's all both in one.
Say what it is. Ratification of warrant list.
Consent.
4E, general consent item, ratification of warrant list.
Oh, we haven't done the approval of minutes. Oh, it's all consent. Yeah. But we only have her speaking.
We're going to be talking a lot about money tonight. And I wonder if anybody on this board looked at the amount of money listed on that warrant list. It is absolutely absurd. And we already know that the county has sent another letter to Superintendent Vitelli warning about future possible bankruptcy. When is this board, when are all of you, when are you, Todd, going to learn to add? Because the fiscal irresponsibility of everybody sitting in front of me is disgusting, and it's going to destroy this school district. In fact, sometimes I think the best thing that could happen to this school district is bankruptcy and fire every one of you.
Thank
We
you.
have 3. And if you could come up in this order, Katie Taylor, Patrick Higuera, and Rose Higuera.
I want to confirm because I couldn't hear you. We are on 5C, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, I'm going to lay it out to you. This is absolutely a nauseating increase of salary for both teachers and staff. I went through the numbers for 2021. Do you realize the average teacher here makes over 120,000? They're going to make over 130. And that's because you haven't learned math yet. So,
Please, everybody, please.
A 4% increase and a $2,500 bonus. Todd, I think you owe it to this group to explain how you negotiated this deal, why it's retroactive, why you were able to vote yourself your own pay increase, and basically you rubber stamped whatever the teachers' unions wanted. This kind of salary increase is what's bankrupting Oceanside Unified School District. And when you add on the student test scores are in the tank. So, surprise agreement didn't throw in. I understand
Please,
these kids.
will you please, please, when she has the floor, just like we would all respect each other, please respect each other as those that are speaking at the podium at the time.
Okay.
For extra time. Keep going, Katie.
Keep going, Katie. Thank you.
Okay. We have one teacher in this school district, Alma Casillas, who's making almost $250,000, and she will make $250,000 after the pay increase. Does anybody think at any point a salary cap might be a good idea? And for what are we getting for our money? Let me tell you what we're getting for our money, because I bet these kids back here don't even know. California ranks 45th in the nation for education. And California, I can point you to the website and prove it to you.
Ma'am, please speak to the board only.
Okay, but then tell them to stop heckling me in the back.
Please just speak to the board.
And California has the honor of having the lowest grade graduation in the country. We rank 50th. The school board will rubber stamp this ridiculous agreement led by big spender Chief Vitelli. Everyone walks away happy except the taxpayers, and the biggest losers of all are the students, because as long as the teachers keep getting huge pay increases, there's no motivation for the teachers and this school district to do any better for them. Why? They keep getting more money, and the students' grades keep going down, and California and this district keeps failing them.
Thank you. Our next speaker, please. Patrick Higuera. No, stop. Sir, sir.
So I just want to say, you guys call us bullies. We're not bullies. We're actually calling you out on your incompetence, okay? So schooldigger.com, when Julie Vitale took over in June of 2018, this is from schooldigger.com. 2017, before she took over, the students passing math equivalent test was 36.7%. She takes over 2022, it has dropped to 22.3%, a 14.4% drop, Vitale. On English, before you took over, in 2017, the equivalency was 52.2 students passing. You took over 2022, it's 43.2 now, a 9% drop. You're failing, Vitale, badly. Anthony Jaquez, 5th grade last June, asked you all, why don't you protect me? None of you reported his, being beat up, thrown into the hospital, broken rib. None of you even reported to the sheriff, the principal, the vice principal. No one reported it. Again, that's your incompetence. The board, you guys didn't even give an apology to the young man who was standing right here. Not even an apology. None of you could even give an apology. That's shameful. Very, very shameful. Out of the 190 books that you approved or that you brought in, over 50% of them are about LGBTQ and transgender. So where is the equality and inclusion in that?
Everyone, please
Where
give
is
him
it?
his time
Where
at
is
the
it?
podium.
Because you had maybe 15 books on Latinos, maybe, if even that. So where's the equality there? You call yourself the director of student services? Well, you're a failure too. You're a big failure. And Mike, no blessing to kids. You don't care about this job. You don't go to nothing. You don't do nothing. You don't care about the kids. I asked you over a year and a half ago to protect these kids, that you and Joyce were the only men on this board, and you can't do that. You're pathetic. You should resign. You really should resign. Go home, sit in your boxes, and drink beer, because that's probably all you do anyways. You don't go to anything. Resign. You need to resign. And Stacy, you're playing both sides of the court. You're supposed to be here representing parents, and you're also on the union board for teachers. So, yeah, did anyone know that? And Vitale, you just let it go and go and go and go. You're a disgrace to this district. You're a disgrace to this city. And you need to resign, too. You should be fired. You really should be fired. So remind me again, why do you guys need raises? For what? Incompetence? You got that down.
Yes, so I also want to know why there's an approval of 4% for teachers and staff retroactive, $2,500 payments as well. Teachers are not able to teach basic reading, writing, math. Our scores are in the tank, 20 and 30%. That's not even an F. That's despicable.
1 second, Rose, 1 second. We're talking about C right now?
Yes,
So we're
that
talking
is
about
the
CSEA.
raise.
You're bringing in teachers into this? That's not what we're talking about. So if you would please stay on topic. It's very important that we stay on topic on different things that we're talking about at this time.
That
Thank
is a
you.
raise that you guys do not deserve. What are you doing to deserve that raise? You guys are failing our kids. You're failing our community. You're taking our taxpayer money. You're paying Max Dispositi, who is an activist, to come and train teachers. Excuse me, I am talking. Thank you for being quiet. He's here.
I would ask again that you would stay on topic, please.
Well, that is where our taxpayer money is going. Instead of teaching reading, writing, and math to our kids, the grades are in the tank, and yet you hire Max Dispositi to train our kids in this ideology, which is ridiculous. We have over here Max Dispositi, queer chat, peer group ages 13 to 18, all
Rose,
genders
again,
and sexual
Rose.
orientations. Over the rainbow. Over the
Rose,
rainbow.
one moment,
Children,
please, Rose.
9
I am
to 12
asking
years
you
old.
to stay on topic.
This is on topic.
No, it is not. So
this is Max
we
Dispositi that
we
you
are
are
not-
hiring
We are not
with
talking about
taxpayer
Max
dollars.
at this time.
This is not okay. This is not okay. This is not okay. You guys are hired. You guys work for us. You are public servants voted to represent students. You guys don't take it seriously. Obviously, this is a big joke to you guys. This isn't funny. These are kids' lives we're talking about. These are our kids' lives. This isn't an LGBT issue at all.
Rose,
this
will
is
you
about
please
our kids.
stay on topic? I'm
I am on
asking
topic.
again. No, you're not. Will
Yes,
you please?
I am on
We are
topic. You
talking
guys-
about 5C, the approval
guys
of
don't
negotiated
deserve this
agreement between the
raise.
Oceanside Unified School District
My
and the
question-
California school employees.
My question is, what do you guys do to deserve this 4% raise? You don't. You don't. That's a joke. That's a joke.
The grades keep going down.
Again, we are speaking only of CSEA at this point. Thank you.
Your raise because of your incompetence.
All right, next item.
Just ask 1 second.
Yes.
Rose?
Rose, are you still speaking?
You're done with that item, right?
Yes.
Okay, I have.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's everybody.
That was 3.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I have a.
We have 4.
Thank you.
First one will be Katie Taylor, Emily Witchman, Victoria Mariani, and Rose Higuera.
Katie, before you start, may I just please ask that we stay on topic and that we hold on to the noise behind so that we can actually hear the speakers as they're speaking, because it is a time constraint on everyone. So please stay on topic.
I believe I will be on topic because I'm going to refer to the letter sent by the San Diego Board of Education to Superintendent Vitelli. I'm going to read a section of the letter. Excuse me? Can't hear you. Oh, is that better? Okay. In the letter, it states, approval of these agreements may exacerbate the district's projected structural deficit in the unrestricted general fund, which would require ongoing budget solutions. For everybody here, that means cuts. We encourage the district to monitor spending and reserves to maintain future fiscal solvency. And what did you guys do last year for fiscal solvency? You sold off school property. What are you going to do, sell off rentals this year to make up for your spending, and you're giving all these excessive raises to teachers and staff? I wish Todd Madison was here. Todd is brilliant with the numbers, and he sent me an email that I would like to just make a couple of his points. The raise on the agenda is not for the only raise that the teachers and staff will get this year. This is an extra raise. Here's what the administration, who just negotiated agreements with the labor groups, now get their own cut, giving themselves the same raise they just negotiated for the teachers' unions. Can anyone imagine a more unethical or corrupt practice than in being in charge of negotiating wages with employees, knowing that you will give yourself, I want to quote Todd right, I hope, you will give the same to yourself. Think about it, you guys, that is such a conflict. It's staggering, because that's how it works in education. Fail and you keep your job. Fail even worse and you get a raise. The county's disclosures show, I want everybody to hear this, the county's disclosures show this bonus raise will end up costing the district $12.7 million. Okay? So here you go again. Just what you did last year, getting ready to bankrupt the school district. And people, if your kids are in rentals, watch out. They're going to sell your school next.
Emily Witchman.
I'm also speaking on the letter from the county, and it says you have to monitor your spending. So I'm wondering if you've gotten already your list of cuts that may be happening in the next couple years. In 24-25, It's going to be $58.6 million with this raise. Also, does that mean you've been having the cuts need to come from the ESS? It needs to stay in the classroom with our teachers, but the ESS needs to be cut. Your latest hire is a social worker. Many, many years ago, we had 25,000 kids in our school district. We never had a social worker. Now, so we need to cut that. Also, too, our Department of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. That director needs to go back to student services and be over all those student services with one coordinator and 2 secretaries. So that means the one coordinator needs to be reassigned and the 2 secretaries need to be assigned. Many times it's because of attrition and retirement. So there's things that you need to do to cut there at the ESS, at the district office, to keep the cuts away from our teachers. Also, too, does that mean in your closed session you had a real estate negotiation for a rental school in El Camino High School? What does that mean? I'll be asking some more questions about that and wondering where's that going to come. And as Katie had mentioned, you had sold Pacifica and Garrison when it should have been using our tax dollars, that those of us that have been here, not you, but us that have been here for years and years and years and have been paying into this community for our kids, for our parks, for our grassroots playing, sports people, for our playing fields. There's a lot we could have done to hold on to that part for our kids and for our community. And so I don't want you to be selling property to keep this afloat, because you're losing students time after time, and you wonder why. Academics is one of the biggest pieces that you have to deal with and you have to confront. Thank you.
Tonight, I'm here to voice my extreme disappointment and utter revulsion at the board approval of the Me Too raises for district administrators. These employees are the highest paid in our district and least affected by the tumultuous few years that the COVID pandemic has wrought on our educational system. We, the boots on the ground, are in a crisis right now at schools across the district due to the shortage of instructional aides and substitute teachers. The board should direct the money they use for admin raises to increase aide pay, to attract qualified employees, and to support the many teachers and students in OUSD who are without sufficient support. This lack of support has a domino effect because site subs are pulled for aide jobs and intervention teachers are pulled to sub due to the sub shortage. So intervention for students is canceled frequently, which does not in any way yield good results for scholars. Giving district leaders raises does nothing to help with these issues and seems rather callous. You're giving the people who already have the most more. Meanwhile, teachers and support staff are carrying the burden of employee shortages on a daily basis. Many are overworked and exhausted. This matter is further complicated by the amount of students entering TK, K, and first grade who need immediate assessment and behavioral support. It's especially difficult to meet the needs of all students at this very young age when you have over 20 of them and several are eloping, throwing shoes, and hitting others. Furthermore, the district seems to have a trend of hiring out-of-district teachers and not promoting our site subs, intervention teachers, and long-term subs who have shown loyalty, worked alongside us, and most importantly, know our students, staff, curriculum, and school communities. They should be better valued. In closing, there are so many needs that we have that are not being met. We haven't adopted a comprehensive science curriculum since NGSS occurred, yet my 5th graders still have to take the SBAC on science every year. How about buying some more school buses and drivers so that field trips aren't such a hassle to plan because of the lack of availability? Or maybe investing in some training and resources for site admin for restorative practice, since it is not being used correctly or effectively. These suggestions would actually impact students directly. Giving thousands of more dollars to superintendents does not. Actually put our students first. Stop spending money at the top of the pyramid and this ridiculous practice of matching admin raises with that of ODA and CCA members. Fair isn't everybody getting the same thing. Fair is everybody getting what they need. Enough is enough.
Wow, Vitaly, you heard it from one of your own teaching staff. Your failures, all of your failures. You are taking money from our babies and you're fattening your bank account, and you are incompetent. All you have done is brought your agenda,
Rosa,
your LGBT
I would ask again
agenda,
that you would please
and
stay
brought
on
down our
topic.
kids. So
I
tell
would
me,
ask that you
so
again
tell
would
me
stay
why
on
why
topic.
are you giving yourselves raises? Why? I'll stand here and I'll wait for an answer. Go ahead, Vitelli.
Are you still going to speak on
Let us
anything?
know. We'd like an answer as a community. How do you decide to give yourself a raise, Vitelli, when our scores are in the 20s and the 30s? It's not even an F. How on God's green earth do you think that you guys merit a raise? That seems like a conflict of interest. You have lost our trust as a community. Wow. Okay. Here are the numbers. $1 million, over $1 million. I repeat, $1 million represented by Superintendent Vitale. $340,979. Mercedes Lovey, you sit there real sweet and nice. You make $253,000 to harm our children. Jordy Sparks, you make over $205,000 with your diversity, equity, inclusion crap. Todd McAteer, you make over $264,000, and what do but sit there and look dumb? You don't do anything for the kids either. After the 4% pay increase, about $1,106,000. Does anyone see over $1 million in value from you guys? $1 million added value in Oceanside Unified School success? Or do you see what I see? Overpaid staff, happy with your bloated figures, who care nothing about the kids. Mike Blessing, you came up to our group very angry, cussing at us, and you said, it will always be 5-0. I don't care. And I said, are you okay with all the CRT and racism and LGBT stuff? Oh, yeah, I'm okay with all of that stuff. I support Vitale. Why are you here if you are not here to protect the kids? You're a disgrace. You're not a man. You're a coward. Resign. All of you, all of you, resign.
Thank you, Rosa. Thank you.
Time's up.
Comment?
We have one public commenter, Rose Higuera, on 5E. Have a paper here. It says 5E for Rose. I don't have one for you, Katie.
So 5E.
Let's do this one again, because I think they need to hear the numbers.
Oh, all right. Here we go again. Over $1 million. I repeat, $1,063,713 represented by Superintendent Vitale. $340,979, and that doesn't even count the benefits and the perks. So it's probably $400,000 or more. Mercedes Lovey, $253,154. That's how you were able to afford your fancy purse. Jordy Sparks, $205,302. Todd McAteer, $264,278 of our hard-working dollars. After the 4% pay increase, about $1,106,261 for 4 people. Wow. Wow. But you have nothing to show for it, Jordy. Absolutely nothing. You're supposed to represent student services, all students, not just one small little minority. What about Anthony Jaquez that got beat up and bullied because he was a Chaldean Mexican?
Please stay on topic.
Does anyone ever see over $1 million in value from these 4 people? From Jordy Sparks, from Vitale, from Todd McAteer, from Mercedes Lovey? I don't. I mean, in my job, if I didn't do my job, I would get fired. You're not doing your job. You're way below average. You all need to resign. And you know, the board, you all have the power to fire Vitale, but you don't. You're intimidated by her. Use the power that God gave you to stand up for the kids. show our kids honor and integrity. It's about education. It's not about indoctrination. It's not about just one little group, okay? We love all people, and we want our kids to succeed. We want them to be able to read and write and do basic math. They don't need to be involved in all this politics. Let them be kids. Let our kids be kids. Be men, be women. Stand up and be role models for our kids. And give us our money back.
Sorry, but I put in a slip for 5F.
I'm sorry, it was an oversight.
Right?
Oh, I'm
Right,
sorry.
Ann?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, so my other people have already pointed out the letter from the San Diego County, which is a very much of a concern since we've been here before about a looming deficit. To my knowledge, we don't have any more property to sell, or do we? To my knowledge, do we have any more COVID money? No. So therefore, we have a looming problem. Now, these I gathered is very personal, and it's just facts, but I gathered my property tax. How many of you, raise your hand, stand, if you pay property tax in the city of Oceanside?
Patty, I would ask that you address Patty. Patty?
Yes?
I would ask that you address the board because we're having our meeting here, so I would ask that anything that you have to say that you would address the board,
Oh,
please.
I am. Believe me, I am.
Thank you.
I just wanted a show of hands. How many of I've spent this year only to the school districts over $7,000 to pay your salaries, and with a show of hands of all those in the audience, how many are satisfied?
Yeah, I ask again that you would address the board and that you not ask questions to the audience.
You can hear me no matter where I turn. How many of you, with a show of hands, are satisfied with the return on your investment? In the 20 years that I've paid on my property, over $140,000 I've given to the school district. With these declining results, I don't think that's a good return on any of your investment. Raise your hand if you think it's a good return on your tax money investment. All of you sitting up on the dais, how many of you actually live in the city of Oceanside and pay property tax? I know that many of you do not. Andrea Norman, you live, I believe, out of town in San Clemente. Mercedes Levy.
Again, I would ask that you would stay on topic because we're talking right now about the increase of the associate superintendents. So I would ask that you would stay on topic.
These are the people who are gaining advantage with this salary increase. They are taking over $800,000 in our property tax money and leaving town. So they have nothing out of their pocket, and they are making.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again, it's
I have a first and a
matter
second. May I go ahead and have a vote, please? All those in favor of approving 5G. Do we have another speaker? I'm sorry. Sorry, we're 5F. Oh, right, you were 5F. Sorry. We already approved that. But we have 5G, we have comment. I know, but we already voted, but we're going to 5G. Okay. We have public comment. On 5G?
Yes. On 5G, Rose Higuera and Emily Witchman.
Right.
So this measure is to increase the board members' monthly compensation. I don't know why we would give you guys money. You're not working for the kids. You're not working for us. You're not using your power. So I don't know why in the world we would give you an increase, but it looks like you guys are going to get one because you guys all vote for yourselves to get raises all of the time, taking money from the kids again. So it's very sad. We do need board members to run that are people of integrity. In all the 5 positions here, we have 2 positions that will be open next year. I hope that some good people run that actually care about kids, because you guys have proved for the last 2 years that I've been here that you don't. It's always 5-0. You guys are just little puppets of Vitaly. It's sad that you don't think for yourself. Bravery and courage is not to be found on this board at all, and there's no accountability either. So yeah, I don't understand why you guys are accepting a raise. You guys, we would accept your resignation, though, for sure.
We have 2 public comments on this one, Emily Witchman and Rose Higuera.
My question is usually after superintendent's evaluation around the springtime, early spring, they get another 3 to 5% increase in their salary. And I'd like to know, is that going to happen also? Are you going to get 2 raises this year or just the 1? And I'll wait my 3 minutes to see if I get any response, a yes or a no. I don't need any details at this time. I just need a yes or a no. You will not get another raise after your evaluation, or you will or you will not get a raise after your evaluation.
No, ma'am, she will not. Did you hear me? Sorry, I didn't know if you heard me over everybody
No,
else.
I didn't hear
said
you.
no, sorry.
I didn't hear
No,
you.
she would not get an increase on the secondary.
Okay, so you just said she will not get an increase after her evaluation?
Correct.
So another way is you as a school board member, you evaluate your superintendent and what they've done for this district and what they've done for the children. And you're not going to give her any incentive one way or the other to be able to rise to the occasion and get our academics up and get to where our kids can function and be part of this community once they grow. So that's very disturbing to me as you as a board. That's what you do. You are the boss of the superintendent. You tell the superintendent what needs to be done, not the how. You don't know the how, but you know the what that needs to be done. And I think you've seen enough test scores that you need to hold this superintendent accountable, because that's what your job is. Your one and only job, basically, is to hold her accountable so that she can rise up the school district and make it something that these teachers are proud to be teaching in, and our parents are proud to be in, and our kids will come back to our school district. It's very disturbing to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
So incredibly, you're going to get a raise, but the only thing that you've done for this community is you were keynote speaker of Pride by the Beach. You use your power and your position to glorify your sexuality, and we've got this man here that came to her event last year. Wow. And yeah, we have queer chat for kids 13 to 18. We've got Over the Rainbow for ages 9 to 12. 9 to 12-year-olds. I think that's
Rose.
for predators. For
Rose,
predators.
again, I would ask that you
Yeah,
would-
we are on target. And our tax dollars are going
Rose,
for the
again, I would ask
GSA
that you would
Awards,
just
the
address the
Gay
board.
Straight Alliance Awards at Oceanside High School. Why?
Rose.
I would like to know why you think it is okay to sexualize our kids. That has nothing to do with education. Has nothing to do with school. Absolutely nothing to do with school. So that's the only thing that you've done for this community. You've brought it down. You have brought it down. You have destabilized kids. Kids are depressed because of COVID, because of the lockdown, because you wouldn't open up the Oceanside schools. That's on you, Vitelli. Suicide rates are up and grades are down, and you think that you deserve a raise? You're bad for our city. Please resign. We're asking for your resignation. Resign. Resign. Don't use your position to harm our kids. What you do is your business, but what you do with our tax dollars, that matters to us. Educate the kids and leave politics out of this. Leave the values to the families. They can have these conversations around the dinner table. You don't have the right to rape our children's innocence, Vitelli. You do not have the right. This isn't an LGBT issue.
I would ask.
We are a school. We are a school. We're not an indoctrination and a sexualization hub. Teach our kids reading, writing, math. All kids are equal. All kids, not just one little group. All what?
Thank you, Rose.
Yes, we have three. Rob Howard, Matt Bow, and Rose Higuera.
Board chair, board members, I had comments I wanted to make, but my heart's troubled. And what's troubling me in a space where we say we care about kids and we care about their development, yet when we talk about things like Black History Month, people want to remove that because it's not the 3 R's, even though arithmetic starts with an A. That's another thing for me. And a recognition as a child who grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, that we learned in 1962. I watched as Dr. King and others were killed, and I didn't know why when all they were trying to do was make our community better. And when we do not teach our children truth, they will eventually learn the truth, and it can be worse for them if we don't do it at an early age. This proclamation is simply one step in us acknowledging the past, thinking about our present, and looking forward to our future. Some of these kids don't get the opportunities that are afforded them because they're busy trying to figure out what is going on around them. And if you don't teach little white kids what happened historically with Black folks, they're not learning the truth. Black history is not just, seriously, Black history is not just for Black people, and that's where I feel like we kind of get there, oh yeah, let's give them that and let's go. It's about the reality that my mind works. I spent 30 plus years as a reactor operator, didn't even know I was kind of good at that until I learned more about who I was in college. It took college for me to figure that out and then to grow. And that meant I was one less person doing damage in my community. So thank you for doing this. We can have a conversation about some of these other things, but there's more we need to do for our students, and this is just one piece. And so thank you all. I appreciate what you're doing, and I would say no matter how hard it gets, continue doing the work of taking care of our community and our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
not going to roast you. Sounds like you got roasted enough tonight, and I'm going to be very civil and complex, or civil and simple. What Mr. Howard just said, I fully agree with. And I could go back to the time I was sitting in a few foxholes back in my time in the Marine Corps to tell you that racism is a taught thing. And it's up to us as a community to remind people that racism is taught. You're not born with it. I can show you several places. I've been to 38 states here. And I can show you several places where it's a lot worse than here in Oceanside, California. Every time I go home, I see it myself. But what I will say is, what are we doing? What are we doing? Not just the schools. What are we doing? What are we doing to advocate, to let kids know that no matter what, who, how you are, you're still good to this earth. The reason why we're here on this earth, whether you believe in Jesus or you don't, is we have purpose. See, I believe in Jesus. I'm an intern pastor, and I'll tell you the first thing, I have a purpose. But see, some kids nowadays, and I can speak on this from my own profession, they don't know their purpose, their identity. They're lost. That's because in today's world, unfortunately, the two-parent household usually works. They don't got time for the kids. So what are we doing as a community? Not just the school board. I'm not going to blame the world's problems on the school board. I'm going to ask the community what the problem is. Because it's on everybody, not just you. Because when I read the Constitution, there's 3 words that matter over everything. We, the people. Not some. We, the people, as a whole. And I'll tell you what, I got a migraine tonight because it got pretty crazy in here. Reminded me of back when I played basketball in middle school. But on a good note, the way we act tonight is the way we shouldn't act in front of our kids, because then we're showing them the bad ways. So what are we doing as a community? It doesn't matter what you believe. What matters is, what are you doing? Because if you're going out here and you're coming out here and you're starting to run your mouth and yell at each other on this stuff, you're not proving nothing but ignorance. If you want to pray, if you want to push something, you got to be civil. Thank you.
And what was his name? Matt. Thank you. And you said you had another?
Yes, Rose Figueroa.
So the Temecula City Council was very wise because they won't declare Black, Hispanic, or anybody's month. Council member Stewart argued that making these inclusionary actually excludes people. When we bring one group up above the entire city, we basically exclude everyone else. And I agree, you know what? God created all of us, male and female, all different colors, shapes, and sizes. He stood back and he looked at creation and he said, very good. He then told us to marry, be fruitful, and multiply. We are all God's children. United as one family, we all share the same DNA, God's DNA. So let's stop glorifying any group. We're all in it together. Yes.
We have 3 speakers on this item: Nicole Watson, Matt Fowl, and Rose Figueroa.
Jesus, may your will be done. Close doors and open doors and pour your spirit out. In Jesus' name, amen. National School Counseling Week. This topic talks about highlighting the tremendous impact school counselors can have in helping students reach their full potential. But what potential is this when every single thing being taught is causing harm to our children, not only mentally, but emotionally and spiritually as well? This all leads to physical harm. What good is a week of celebrating school counseling going to do for the trauma caused already? Socialization has become an illusion. Discussions have become secrets. Everything is offensive and the truth is hidden by instigation. This causes harm and a variety of mental health problems and an obscured real-life point of view that goes beyond the type of counseling OUSD counselors can provide. What else is National School Counseling Week able to provide? Adults in OUSD, meaning in this case teachers and staff, are misusing the words community, safe place, kind, inclusive, and anti-bullying. OUSD thrives in their program called Out for Safe Schools, supporting transgender ideology, wearing badges proudly to show this. Teachers and staff should not be discussing or disguising counseling as a private way to influence our children to question themselves. What happened to progress tracking and truly wanting the well-being of our children to be a priority, which is noted in your proclamation resolution number 25 form? That's what the bigger picture is trying to make everyone think. But let's remember that OUSD has been recognized by the Equality California Institute, which is such an honor. It's really not. Our children are a part of a deeper rooted agenda in the form of a clinical trial where our children's livelihood is literally at stake. Why is it okay to push personal adult information such as gay, gender, queer, and plant confusion in our children, little children at that? Why does OUSD highlight only a week of National School Counseling if it's so important to celebrate yearly? Safe places, right? Safe spaces. Why is it okay to let grammatical information be thrown at our children so much that the goal of them questioning themselves becomes successful? Does National School Counseling Week address this? Why are children being taught it's okay to not be children? Why have our schools become an illusion of make-believe? And why isn't OUSD using the words inclusive and anti-bullying to teach about the truth and horrors that the harm of abortion have on our children and nation? OUSD talks about National School Counseling Week, but what is OUSD really doing during this time? Board communication outside of school board meetings is a violation of the Brown Act, point blank, on open public meetings. With that said, please keep a record of all communications between yourselves and the groomer intended. A FOIA request will be on the way. In Jesus' name, amen.
Matt Powell.
Roast anybody else. There's been enough. I will say that again. Ain't no need to get. I'm gonna keep it civil. You know, when I look at counseling, there's several levels of it. Okay, I'm in the mental health field, and I understand. I don't need the microphone. I'll just get louder. So, I understand the importance of counseling. Now, I heard some great accomplishments earlier, talking about scholarships in our kids. That's amazing. In fact, some kids, I can speak on my own self, we weren't supposed to even go to college. And to have that hope is all that these kids need. When I come up here and I came to this board meeting, the only focus I have today is on the kids and how can we make this better. Well, that's easy, but not really. The first things first is we got to put them as a priority. The kids are first. That's why you're here. That's why we're here. Just because we sit on different sides of the aisle doesn't mean we can't agree that, yes, scholarships are beneficial. Any way we can help, what was that, the ATS? Earlier, they were talking about they're getting some good jobs. The transitional school, that's what we want to see. We want to see progress in the community. Even you can sit on this side, you can sit on that side, you can sit over there. For all I care, you can sit on the roof. But the priority here, through all this meeting, is not the adults in the room, it's the children. And I think we got to remember that throughout the meeting. Because I tell you what, I haven't seen a crowd like this go back and forth since I went to a Lakers-Celtics game. And of course, we know what happened there. LeBron got babyish. But I'm serious when I say that when it comes to this counseling appreciation, that's a hard job. Whether it's mental health, whether it's employment, counseling, academic counseling. I also want the counselors to take in mind their own self-care. And remember that their job is one of the most important in this industry because they are the ones that are the guide to let the kids know that there is a hope that they may not realize, whether it's financial aid, whether it's community college, whether it's Berkeley, whether it's Stanford, or whether it's the military like I chose. The kids deserve hope. And if we're over here arguing like a gymnasium full of fifth graders, what are we really doing for the kids? Thank you.
Rose Sequeira.
So I wish that the counselors and the school psychologists would be actually helping our kids, but K through 12 kids are getting brainwashed. In CRT ideology, the belief that America is oppressive and that all the systems need to be torn down, that divides people by race, gender, sexuality, etc. And the diversity, inclusion, and equity marketing, that's the feel-good marketing campaign that disarmed parents. It can also be used to weaponize guilt. Why are you against inclusion? SEL, social emotional learning. It sounds great, right? The whole school culture change is disguised as mental health, a multi-billion-dollar industry that manipulates your child's survey with very personal information that they use to justify evidence-based woke policies in your school. Some of the questions from these surveys are, have you had sex? How many partners have you had? Have you done drugs? What kinds of drugs have you done? Did you take drugs before you had sex? All of those things have no place in the classroom. And CRT, culturally responsive teaching, what it really is, it's the method by which all teachers and counselors are trained. Every subject in K through 12 is being taught through the lens of a critical race theorist, where race and gender propaganda dominates the majority of discussions and assignments. We have steered so far from learning that we're making kids sick. We're actually giving them mental health issues and emotional issues. You know, our kids are our precious commodity. They're our future. They are our leaders. And they trust us to protect them and take care of them and actually teach them. So I wish that this school would get back to just the basics. Please, teach our kids. Reading, writing, math, bring the scores up. That's all we're asking. We're not asking for anything difficult. Leave all this other garbage out. The counseling, we can take our kids to our own counselors. We can get our own kids eyeglasses. We can get our kids food and shoes. We don't need to be a hub of everything. We need to be a school for learning. These kids need to be prepared for the future. They're going to be our leaders one day. We need to take care of them. They're looking up to us to be their heroes. Let's be their heroes.
I want to make a motion to approve.
Two commenters, Emily Wichman and Katie Taylor.
Yes.
First of all, before you approve this, there's a correction. It says there's a 7-member board, you're a 5-member board, so that needs to be changed. Also, I just like to read another part of it under public participation. Without taking action, board members and district staff members can briefly respond to the public. The eye drops in my eyes are killing me. The questions by the public about items not appearing on the agenda. Additionally, of their own initiative in response or questions posed by the public. So this means that at the end of closed session or end of public comment, that instead of putting down the gravel and saying meeting adjourned, you can express your thoughts, you can direct your staff to be able to address some of these public comments that have been going on for years. This past 2 years, when you put this public comment at the end of the meeting instead of at the beginning like every other organization in this area. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention, that this is what you can do as a board. You can flex your muscles a little bit and ask staff to do something or ask more questions about general comments that we have to you instead of putting the gravel down and saying, meeting's adjourned, everybody go home. Thank you.
Okay, when I saw this, it was clear why this was put on the agenda for tonight. And Minnie Malvitelli let us know at the very beginning of this meeting that she was going to make sure we had to shut up about the books. Ain't gonna happen. I'm here for my free speech. I will fight for my free speech, and none of you will shut me up. I wonder how many people sitting here tonight, how many of these kids know what Mao did during the Cultural Revolution only 57 years ago? Do you know he brainwashed kids to the extent they killed their parents? He brainwashed kids to the extent they killed their teachers. I read one of the most tragic articles.
I have a quick question real quick. Because we are talking about 8E, approve revisions to board bylaw meeting conduct. So
I'm sorry, would you say that again, please?
we're talking about 8E?
Correct.
Which is meeting conduct.
Correct. I'm talking about what you're trying to do with 8E by trying to brainwash and limit what we can say at these meetings. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Communism. Because that's what Mao did. That's what Mao did with his little red book. Do you know how many millions of people he killed in the 60s? You guys, that was only 57 years ago. Do these kids even know he brainwashed kids so much they killed their parents? I read one of the most tragic stories I've ever read about a man who's now suffering because he turned his mother in when he was 13 years old and watched her executed. This is the kind of brainwashing that's going on in our country right now. And I'm not going to stand for it. And Vitelli, you're not going to tell me what books I can talk about. And the other thing I'd like to correct, because I have freedom of speech, 400,000 Union soldiers died to stop slavery in this country. And it cost Lincoln his life. Show some respect. All children, not black children, not white children, all children respect what our men have died for in this country.
I'll make a motion to approve with correction from 7 to 5.
Second.
So a first and a second. All those E, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Vote. At this point in time, how long do you want? We have 42 public comments. So at this time, we're going to take a bio break. 55. So we'll be back 10 minutes. So we're going to take a 10-minute bio break, and we will be back at 8:55. Thank you. We're going to start with 9-1. At this time, the Board of Education will receive comments about items and issues within the board's jurisdiction that does not appear on the agenda. Generally, each person may speak for up to 3 minutes. However, the total time for public comment may be limited to 20 minutes per item or topic, while the total time per speaker for a given topic may be slightly reduced in certain circumstances, all persons wishing to address the board will have a meaningful opportunity to do so during this meeting. An individual may only turn in one off-agenda public comment card per board meeting. In addition, no one individual may give their time to anyone else for the purpose of extending their public comment time. Open meeting laws and fairness to other residents who may have an interest in your topic prohibit the board from taking action or engaging in extended discussion of your concerns. We will start now with public comment. Will you call a group up at a time?
I will.
Thank you.
Amy Pimentel, Angelica Jackson, and Rob Howard. In that order, please. Angelica and Rob.
Just real quick, I want to say something. Please remember that the things that you're reading, we do have children in the room. We do have children still watching, and so please respect those that are around. I'm speaking, please, so that please remember that we do have children here. So please be respectful, because remember, we are the example to them. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Amy Pimentel, and my child attends Passat Elementary in the Base After School program. I'm here to present a letter to the board that has been signed in person by about 40 individuals and also online by about 15, the last I counted. We only started this Friday night. We are demanding the district immediately reverse their irresponsible decision to leave our school campuses open to the public during after-school program. I'm going to read the letter as I'm representing our parents. Dear Dr. Vitale and Oceanside Unified School District board members, we are parents, guardians, caretakers, educators, staff, and the community of Passat Elementary, and horrified by the lack of safety protocols after school when hundreds of students remain on campus as part of BASE, along with our teachers, administrators, and staff. Unfortunately, our principal and BASE staff have been directed by Oceanside Unified School District to leave 2 gates on campus unlocked and unattended once students are dismissed for the school day. This is so community members have access to the campus for their own recreational pleasure. The district's priority should be the safety and well-being of our students and staff, not the recreational access of neighbors. The campus should remain closed and secure. In Uvalde, Texas, it was one broken lock that allowed a shooter to get into a school and kill children and teachers. According to Gun Violence Archive, we have already had 55. Now that number is 61. Mass shootings in this country in 2023, 8, now 9, of those were in California. It's mind-blowing and unacceptable that in 2023, we have to petition the board and the district to prioritize the safety of our children and school staff. BASE is funded through the ACES grant, which stands for After School Education and Safety Program. Note the word safety. It's ironic that at this time, our BASE staff and students are unsafe due to the district's open campus policy. We, the community of Passat Elementary, demand that all gates remain locked during the hours of the BASE program to ensure the safety of our children, staff, and educators. This change should take effect immediately. There is a current sign that says no public access permitted while school is in session 3:30 to sunset during weekdays. This program is a program of OUSD, a partnership. It is a partnership of SDCOE, of Oceanside, and of BASE. They are on OUSD property. We are concerned, and like I said, we have gotten over 50 signatures just in a short amount of time. And in honor of Black History Month, I will say this. There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. That is the quote by the great and late Mr. Nelson Mandela. Ms. Givens, if I may, I'd like to bring up copies of the petition the family signed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Angelica Jackson.
Hello. Just put this on this side real fast. Good evening, board, Dr. Vitale. My name is Angela Jackson, and I'm the Stop the Hate program coordinator at the North County LGBTQ Resource Center. I work for Max Disposti. And in this work and in my life as a triple threat, a Black, queer woman, I've seen clear evidence of this pyramid of hate, this concept that biases, whether in the form of stereotyping or microaggressions, are the foundation of other behaviors with more life-threatening consequences. If we accept these kind of bottom level, seemingly minor offenses, it becomes easier to accept the next level, then the next level, where then you end up with a hate incident, a hate crime, or even murder. So in October of 2022, the Oceanside Unified School District was recognized by Equality California as one of the top districts in the state who support LGBTQ students. Equality California awarded the district superintendent, Dr. Julie Vitale, the highest honor, the Spotlight Certificate of Excellence. And although I'm not a parent myself, it's easy to say that safety and support would be the top things that I'd be concerned with if my children were in school. And I would be so lucky to have a student in the Oceanside Unified School District. So congratulations to you, Dr. Vitale, who has the courage to live your life, your authentic self as an out member of the LGBTQ community, and to model the strength, bravery, and boldness that it takes to live in a world where some people would want to annihilate us simply for the people we choose to love. So thank you, Dr. Vitale. And thank you, Oceanside School District, for making sure that every student does not fail to see their magnificence. So, less hate, more love. Thank you.
Board President, board members, superintendent, I actually wanted to bring up a subject for us to think about moving forward, and it has to do with your career tech ed program. I am amazed at the opportunity this program provides for students that may not go to college or may not be ready for college. That doesn't mean they won't go later. And what I am recommending is that there be some work with the city's economic development group, because having worked with them, I did a presentation with them around energy, because that's my background. And what I found is they're in need of other technical professionals to actually present to the students. These are not the professions of the teachers, but they're exposing them to that, and that's a place where the community can actually input. In particular, those with environmental backgrounds, are able to do it. The reason I suggested the Economic Development Group is because they are working with all of the changes in the businesses in the community. So it would be a one-stop shop for having that communication come from the district to the Economic Development Manager to those businesses in those areas. Now, granted, I don't want to sit here and give other people more work to do because she only has 2 people in that department and everyone is busy. I just think the more opportunities we share with our students, the better prepared they will be for the changing landscape, and that they can be in a position where fear isn't the driver, excitement becomes the driver. So career tech ed, opportunities, how we communicate with people who are doing that work and get that information to the teachers that are working on those programs. And the other piece is the Oceanside Fire Department has a EMT program, and the police department has another program, community service officers. I would like an opportunity to be able to talk with the coaches for the different sports teams or students that may be interested in these opportunities, because we're working with folks who actually want a scholarship, some of the students, through the EMT program. The resource officer program literally is a full-time job, and it's an entry level to that if someone is interested in law enforcement. So these are opportunities. I just think continuing to make sure that the community is engaged with what you're doing. I'm bringing them as an offering as opposed to just us talking about it out there. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and you guys keep working to help and grow our students into the humans that we want to see them become. Thank you.
Next three speakers, Dan Granite, Jerry Nichols, and Katie Taylor.
Hi, my name's Dan Granite. I've lived in Oceanside since 1988. Between my wife and I, we have 5 children that have gone through the system. The first was my oldest daughter. She graduated El Camino High School, class of 2000, EC Pride. I'm really disgusted right now when I hear that, well, one of the books, and I want to talk about books, but I also want to talk about student information. That's what I wrote down on the card. I was non-specific because I believe in freedom of choice, and that's not what's happening right now. And I'm really irritated about it. If my daughter, if that was on the shelf when my daughter was in school, I wouldn't have waited for a freaking board meeting. I'd have been pounding on somebody's door. I would protect my little girl. I still do. She's 41 years old. I still protect my little girl. The things that are going on right now are flat out disgusting. There's no transparency, or if so, there's very little. There's a list. There's a list with 11 books. I want to see that list because if I'm not, as a community member, if I'm not allowed to vote and voice my opinion, I'm going to get that list to every parent that I can come in contact with because I'm going to get them to come down and vote. I'm going to encourage them to get on school site council so that they can start making decisions. I just retired after almost 25 years in administration, educational administration, and I'm appalled. Everybody has the right to be free. Everybody has the right to choice. Everybody has the right to be respected. And everybody should be respected. This side of the room, this side of the room, equally. And I don't really give a rat's about Black History Month. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with Black History Month. I don't have a problem with Hispanic Heritage Month. I want to know, what did we do for Holocaust Remembrance Day? I'm Jewish. But I'm not offended. Everybody should be equal. Everybody should have the same opportunities and the same protections. But the thing is, my religion or my wife's religion doesn't trump their whatever gender they are. I don't care. Everybody is the same. God created us all the same. All right? And I'm out of time. I'm sorry. But I want that list. And
Thank you, sir.
And okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me. I just want to make a comment on how appalled I am by some of the negative comments I hear. None of you guys live in my shoes. And I just want to say, my name is Jerry. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a proud queer woman. I was raised in Oceanside. I'm from Oceanside. I'm the daughter of a sergeant major in the Marine Corps. And I'm grateful. I'm a graduate of El Camino High School. Go Wildcats. And I just want to say, I had a 5th grade teacher that inspired me by watching her be her true self, live her authentic life, and encourage students to live theirs. She was African American that inspired me. There's no doubt in my mind that without the encouragement and support of our teachers here and all of you, I would not be successful in my life, but not be afraid to be out and proud. I stand here in support of all of you, our OUSD administrators, staff, teachers, and students, to keep inspiring and supporting one another to live your own authentic lives. So thank you.
Okay, I want to talk about the last board meeting. Unfortunately, I wasn't here. I was out of town. But I did watch the KCOT video of the public comments. And I guess what flabbergasted me, when the people got up and read the sections from these books, and it was like I was looking at Stonehenge. You guys acted like you didn't hear, you didn't see, even when some of the things we're talking about sex between young men who are related to each other, how to have them have sex with each other. And you guys just sat there like pieces of stone. I was shocked. So, okay, I'm going to give you a break. I'm thinking you weren't prepared. You didn't know they were going to read from these books, and it'd be on tonight's agenda. What was on tonight's agenda, all right, when Vitelli threatened us not to bring up books unless it was under certain conditions. And you know what? If you think these books are so great, then bring them in. Bring all 11, defend every book. Tell us why that book should be in our schools. Tell the parents why those books should be here. You have embarrassed this community, and what's tragic, you are hurting the kids. You are hurting their development years. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to make a prediction tonight. There's going to be a sexual assault that happens on one of these campuses, and it's going to be related to one of these books, and every one of you is going to be sued. The district will be sued, and every one of you sitting up here will be sued individually, and you will have deserved it. And Ann Givens, I like you, but you make $130,000 a year. You're responsible for what goes on in this school district and not standing up and fighting back against it as well as anybody else.
Susan Custer and Andrew Procalso.
For the board members. Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. I want to first open by saying that I've been reading the signs tonight, and we agree with every one of them. Protect trans youth. Of course, protect trans youth. Ban hate, not books. No one's asked anyone to ban books. I don't even think y'all have the authority to ban books. We're asking that books be removed, inappropriate books be removed from the schools, not destroyed, and ban bigotry, not books. Of course, no one believes in bigotry. No one approves of that. So anyway, that's that. Now, of course, there are books in our schools, and we did establish last time, thank you for answering me, one of you did, that we have high school students which are only 14 years of age. And we have books in our schools that have this on the front of them, on the cover. You're about to access material that may contain content of an adult nature. These files may include pictures and materials that some viewers may find offensive. If you are under the age of 18, it is illegal to view. Please exit now. So again, you cannot ban a book from society, but you do have the authority to take a book that it is illegal for someone under 18 to view away from our schools. That's what we're asking for. Just as I hope you would take alcohol away from a child, because it is illegal for them to have alcohol. So I would hope you would take that away as well. So from Funhouse, there are a few quotes from one of the books called Funhouse, and I'd like to know if this is what you did with your children when they were in high school. This is Chumley's. Dad and I used to come here to drink. This is a daughter talking. Do you take your daughters to drink at the local bar? My father called. He seemed strangely pleased to think I was having some kind of orgy. Now, are you fathers pleased to find out your 14, 15-year-old daughter is having some kind of orgy? This is what we would like out of the schools. Not banned from society, out of the schools. After the movie, Dad took me to a notorious local night spot.
Thank you, Susan.
Night spot. The front was a topless club. The back was a gay
Susan,
bar.
thank you.
And please,
Thank you.
I didn't get to read
Thank
what
you.
have, what was given to you, but please review it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Andrew Prakash. I know I'm going to offend some people here, but it is in love. Know that it is genuine love. Love for this land, its people, and my own family's future. When I look back on my childhood education, I thank God that I wasn't raised in America at this time, because at least I had the opportunity of a basic education as a helpless child. All kids who eventually become adults in a functioning society need basic skills. A basic education, and you are failing them. Throwing all this smoke at them. We're already seeing the effects. The masses are angry, unskilled, loud, unforgiving, uncompromising, zero work ethic, incapable to be impartial to truth or to facts, yet claim to be the opposite. It's the age of spin, and putting the word love on a sign means nothing. Love is sacrifice. And if you can fathom it, sacrifice to the point of death on a cross. That's a love worth clinging to, not the love that loves only if you agree with them. Remember math, English, science, politics as a subject, money management, to name a few? Where's the focus on that? God and country, remember that? Let's debunk this myth for a second. Racism and homophobia in America doesn't change the fact that being born here is still the greatest and oftentimes the only opportunity these kids have. You are literally setting them up for failure. The fact of the matter is this: the United States of America, especially California, is not producing enough skilled professionals to sustain its own economy. I'm talking record lows in America for producing skilled Americans, and it starts right here in the public school system. Why is much more than half of Silicon Valley expats? Who builds the infrastructure? Who designs the buildings? Who runs the financial books? Who performs the audits? Who performs the surgeries? Who is prosecuting and who is defending? Who is judging? Who's running every single faucet of IT in America right now? Not Americans. Every app on your phone, not Americans. What happens with all those jobs where high skills are involved? Doctors, engineers, accountants, lawyers, skilled trades. You may have written these kids off, but they have unlimited potential if you give them the power to believe in themselves. Yet those jobs get outsourced en masse to other countries. Let me tell you, those people coming, they don't give a damn about critical race theory or what gender you identify on a given Tuesday. Why is that? Because they're taught to work hard and succeed based on merit. Everywhere around the world, based on what you do, not what's in the mirror. In the education system, we really need to get back to merit based on performance and results based on fact, not based on color or sexuality. We need to do this fast if we're going to have a future here. You're failing these kids. You're failing their parents who desire better for them, and you're failing the society that they have the unique opportunity to contribute to build upon, but you set them up to eventually need aid, to run to drugs, or to anyone who will tell them what they want to hear. It doesn't need to be that way. It shouldn't be that way. This is a clear attack on the land that is supposed to be full of opportunity, and that includes Americans too.
That's the last of 8. So we have 45. We have 45 speakers yet to speak, which are all basically on the same agenda item at this point. At this point, we're going to, because we do have responsibility to be done by 10:30. We were looking to do 2 minutes per speaker at this point in time. So as you're called, we would ask that you would be respectful of those that come up, because we are cutting the time so that we can actually listen to everyone. So again, please be respectful of each other's time at the podium. Be respectful again that we do have children watching and in the room. Thank you.
Our first three speakers will be Heather Louise, Jaden Villanueva, and Liz. That's all I have on here. Heather, are you still here? Jaden, is Jaden still here? Okay.
My name is Elizabeth Hubbs, and I have a son that had to endure. One of his friends came out, and he accepted him. And I taught my children to be respectful to everyone. But this kid decided, because he had the right to try to be aggressive and push himself on my son, even though my son is straight. But where is the education? You're pushing everyone to accept everybody, but not different points of views. And I don't understand, because education should be about science, math, English, history, and to respect each other. But now we're just saying that this community has the right to do whatever they want and push themselves on us. And we're saying, we accept you for who you are, but don't go into my home and try to tell my children and myself that we are wrong.
Ma'am, I would ask that you direct the board, please.
Why can't you accept us the way you want us to accept you? That's all we're asking, is that accept us, and we will accept you. Be respectful. Don't tell us that we're wrong. We're not coming to your home and trying to change your life. We're not saying that you're wrong in your lifestyle.
Ma'am, please direct the board.
Okay, so then what are you doing to protect our kids who don't agree with their lifestyle? If they're not leaving them alone, why can't they leave us alone? What are you doing to protect my kid? My kid had to deal with his friend being aggressive and pushing himself, and nobody wanted to do anything because they didn't want to offend him. But it was okay for him to attack my son. So where were you to protect our kids? I want to know. Education should be.
Thank you. Thank you.
When are you going to start?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Are you going to help us?
All right. I'm here to advocate for love, queerness, my mother, my sister, my peers, including myself. The same way I wear my flesh, you mimic me. The way I can feel happy and angry and sad, you can too. So why, when it comes to love, I can't express myself? Why can't I be acknowledged the same way straight love is? The queer community has gained more acknowledgement and acceptance over the years. More people feel comfortable in their skin, their sexuality, for who they are. 10 years ago, I couldn't say the same thing. So many of my peers are welcoming because the world we live in is constantly evolving. So why not fight? Wait, my bad. So why not fight for the world to evolve for the better? Why not join us? My generation will be the next to make decisions like this soon. And my generation has spoken up more than any other for complete equality. Your generation used to make me feel like my words didn't matter. Like, my bad. It's another side. Like I wasn't heard. Hold up. Thank you. The more I talk, the more I feel I'm not heard. But I'm not talking, I'm acting. My generation is acting upon these matters because I'm not happy one day doesn't mean you have to follow me. So why is it when I love differently, you say I can't speak about it? Why isn't that subject open? Being raised in a religious household, I was taught that queerness was wrong. My father once told me, if I ever find out one of you guys is gay, meaning my siblings and I'll beat the gay out of you. Now my sister, 12 years old, and I both have experimented. She feels a burden to hide it, but I've always told her I love her for not who she loves, but for her, who she is. In this current moment, I'm staying with my queer, non-binary mother, Juanito. How ironic that people that swear by the Bible are the ones that threw me out and left me in the streets to fend for myself. The ones that condemn people like my mother and act the ones that condemn my mother, people like my mother, to hell, but my mother acted more Christ-like than them by clothing me, feeding me, and doing everything that my father couldn't. Because of this,
Thank
I gained a
you.
way to speak about my sexuality openly. I'm open.
Thank you. Asking for all to do that.
Thank you. Adam Riojas, Sandra Martinez, and Max Despoti.
Hi. Raquel, hi, how are you? My name is Adam Riojas. I was born in Oceanside. I mentored a lot of people that know a lot of you, that work directly with some of you now. I was a jock in high school. I was an incredible jock. It's kind of nice to say. But here's why I'm here today. We all have to be accountable to somebody real soon. Real soon. You know, you may not believe in God, doesn't matter. But I'm here to tell you that there is a God, and we can see what's happening around the world right now. You know that I did 14 years in prison for a crime that I did not commit. And I'm here to tell you that most of the people that become the hunter in there, any child molester that goes in there gets killed or stabbed. And the reason they do that is because at one point they were molested. Some of them actually ended up being a homosexual because they liked it. And then there's some that become the hunter and kill people and stab people when they walk in through them doors because of the pain that they have now. And this is what our school district is doing now. I'm from Oceanside. You guys are allowing this garbage to come in. You have the power to stop it. You can stop this right now. And if you don't, you will be accountable. You will meet your maker one day. And you will be accountable for everything you pushed. Everything you pushed. You know that at the same time the Grammys were promoting the devil, you know what happened? There was a massive earthquake on the other side of the world. You know that their fault line is the same fault line that we have here in California. It's the same length. It's a wake-up call to you and I. You will be accountable.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Oh, there we go. Hi. I'm going to talk about the scores again of our kids. I really think it's important that people are educated when they're in school. There are a lot of things they can learn in school, but really your job is to educate them. And the educators work really, really hard, and they have to work within the guidelines of the EDCO, which I think may be causing some issues. With the social emotional learning, that takes such a huge portion of the time out of the school day that there isn't enough time to teach the basics. I went to the grocery store the other day, and the gal there didn't know how to do change. She couldn't do change without the computer being on, without the cash register. She had no idea how to count back from $50. And we had a discussion about it, and she felt she had been failed by her schooling. She actually began to cry. And we shouldn't be doing that to kids. We should have them feel competent and self-assured and that they can get a job, they can get a job that they want, that they can aspire to, that gives them hope, that gives them goals, that gives them desires, helps them feel fulfilled in life. I think everybody deserves to feel fulfilled. I think everybody deserves to search happiness and do the best that they can to attain that. But when you start them handicapped through an educational system that isn't giving them what they believe they're going to be getting, and that doesn't prepare them for the outside world, that's really not what it's about. It's really about empowering people and their goals and their desires in life to be the best they can be.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to pick this. I just want to set the record straight. From early on, someone said, I don't know how many contracts and money I got from the school district. I just want to make it clear for the audience and for the people who are watching. 0, there are no monies. I showed up thousands of times because we love our kids, all of them, and we did the work with you and the parents and the kids that want us in their schools. But that was just a little parenthesis. So yes, I'm the director, executive director of the LGBT Center, but I'm a father of a trans kiddo that 10 years ago had to drop out of school because the Oceanside School District wasn't that safe place that it is today. 10 years ago, we used to go to a lot of funerals because our kids in our community from different school districts were killing themselves because they didn't have a safe house, a safe school, a safe place to go where they could be free to come to share their challenges. And now this is not happening, or at least not as much as it used to be. And we have done great strides. I commend you for this work. We have a lot of work with you to do, and we will make you accountable for sure. But folks, for God's sake, be nice. Be nice. I'm glad I didn't wear red today because I like the color, but I didn't want to be confused. I'm saying that few people are from Oceanside here that spoke. Please, elected officials, you need to remember, thousands of people voted for you. There is an election process. They voted for you over and over. Eleanor Evans, you're a gem for this community. Over and over, they voted for you. Don't forget that. We, the people, voted these people to put other people in charge. So there was an election 2 months ago. People on this room, they ran, and you lost. You lost again and again and again. So it's okay. You need to do that. Run again. But here we're not changing policy. We're not talking about our identities. Our identities, it's not up for a vote here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next 3 speakers, Richard Newton, Allison Manu, and Marie Quigley.
Hello. I had a speech that was closer to 3 minutes, and so I'm just going to kind of ad-lib it. Watching some of the comments that have gone around here and talking about the books that are in question, there's something wrong with having books that is illegal for somebody under the age of 18 to read, the content in those books. There's something wrong with having those in a public school. Do you have Penthouse and Playboy in the libraries? Are they allowed to see those? I mean, those, you also need to be over 18 to buy a Penthouse or a Playboy. So if you don't have those magazines, you shouldn't have these books. Certain things are best left to parents to deal with their kids within the family, and schools should not usurp that role. Schools should focus on the basics, on academics, to make students employable and to provide them with the best economic opportunity for growth going forward. That helps all students of any persuasion. If they have a good education, if they can get a better job, it puts them in a better economic strata and makes their lives better. It also makes America stronger if we have a more economically prosperous society. So focus on things that matter in terms of employability and education, and leave matters of personal preference to parents. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Allison.
Okay, so I have a book here. It's called The Hate You Give. And anyhow, while this book starts off about the harsh and tragic realities of police brutality, the book then continues to go on speaking of illicit drug use, sexual pleasures, racial slurs, and taking youth activism to the streets. So I will read a couple lines from here. It's, you're so lucky you go to that white people's school and don't have to deal with hoes like that. Point made, and before you say it, little lame white kids suburb parties don't count. I bet they'd be doing. Chance asked me, white kids love popping pills. Damn, for real? Chance asked. Next time, invite me. I'll party with them white kids. All right. You know, I guess I can stop right there because it just goes on and on as I read earlier. But have we not learned from the riots that have destroyed our communities and businesses throughout our nation? I mean, children are taught hate. We know this. So I'd like to leave this with the in the words of the great Dr. Martin Luther King. Hatred paralyzes life. Love releases it. Hatred confuses life. Love harmonizes it. Hatred darkens life. Love illuminates that. And you know, by the way, the flyer that was put out by you, sir, had hate, that we were hatred, that we were haters.
Will you please address the board?
It's unfortunate. We are here. We are here for our children with
Thank you.
explicit
Thank you, Allison.
books.
Marie Quigley, are you here? If not,
Thank
then I'm
you.
gonna move on. Ben Richards, Carolyn Bolton, and Marlene Scott. Ben Richards.
All right. Evening, everybody. I'm Ben. I'm the founder of Southern California Parent Advocates. My mission statement is to expose, challenge, and resist critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and vaccine and mask tyranny in our schools. Now, I'm not anti-LGB, and also, happy Black History Month. Okay, Black history is not critical race theory. All right? But critical race theory, what these parents are against, and me too, is basically believe it's oppressive and that all the systems need to be torn down, and it's very divisive, all right? Now, I'm specifically here because these types in all the different districts, and I see this sign here, ban hate, not books, okay? Now look, I'm gonna get into that in a second, but if you want these books in your home, you can have these books in your own home. But we don't want these books in our schools. And the fact of the matter is that these people not just want this ideology in these books for their kids, they want it for your kids too, and that's why it's in the schools. So back to the sign. Some of these people here are going to continue to cross your boundaries, and I believe that is hateful to me as a parent, and I don't appreciate it, and I have little children. So like I said, I hope we all get along tonight, but this stuff is in every district, and we're organizing, so I hope we all get together tonight because we have a lot of stuff to do to fight this stuff in all the school districts in Southern California. We're not going away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Dear Superintendent Kelly and the president of the board, I just want to say thank you. You've done a really wonderful job on the under some really stressful circumstances. My name is Carolyn Bolton. My family and I have been residents of our Oceanside community for 48 years. I graduated from El Camino High School, as did my 4 siblings, and my granddaughter attends Oceanside Elementary School. I want to take the time to thank our great Oceanside providing a wide range of materials to our diverse spent to represent the whole of a community is money well spent. PEN America reports disappropriate targeting of books by or about people whose ideas have traditionally been underrepresented in children's and young adult literature, such as people of color, individuals, or persons with disabilities. According to the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network, having just one visibly supportive educator in school can ensure that LGBTQ plus students feel safe, welcomed, and encouraged to learn. For 1 in 8 students who are bullied for not conforming to gender norms, or queer books or other books that challenge gender stereotypes can teach them and their peers to rethink gender bias. I want every educator at Oceanside Unified School District to have the resources, books, and lesson plans they need to create affirming and welcoming school climates for all students. In an era of restricting ideas and a time when book bans continue to be on the rise from a small but vocal minority, I speak on the behalf of the First Amendment rights of students, community members to access the materials they wish to. You have talented and competent professionals using their expertise to the best of their ability, and they deserve that recognition. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent, President, and school board members. My name is Marlene Tuyai Scott. I'm a retired K-8 Oceanside Unified School District educator, National Board certified in Reading Language Arts with a master's degree in educational literacy. We cannot have books banned in our schools. Our public institutions and schools must serve our diverse democracy. Credentialed teachers, certified librarians, educational specialists select books available in our school libraries and classrooms. Our school libraries are places of voluntary inquiry, providing a vital resource for students, parents, and educators in both supporting literacy and helping young people learn about the world. Any efforts to restrict what information and ideas are available often entail efforts to suppress or censor particular viewpoints, stories, and histories. According to our school board policy 5157, the Oceanside Unified School District is committed to providing a safe, supportive, and inclusive learning environment for all students, including transgender students, and to ensure that every student has equal educational opportunities and equal access to the district's educational programs and activities. Book bans threatens free expression and students' First Amendment rights. As a former teacher, I understood that it was my job to teach kids how to think critically, not what to think. We cannot diminish the ability and expertise of librarians or teachers to use particular educational materials. We cannot diminish access to literature to our young people. Ban hate, not books. Thank you.
Thank you.
Charles Finn, Nicole Watson, and Eric Baldwin.
Good evening. In Germany, the Nazis began banning books by literary and political figures they disapproved of. Those banned books were then publicly burned on March 10, 1933. To justify their actions, the Nazis labeled the books as un-German, out of line with our culture, and finally, degenerate. Then they called it Jewish intellectualism. Today they decry it as wokeness. Call it what you will, the ideas the Nazis stood for are still with us. Nationwide, groups like these have been attempting to ban books in order to erase people those books represent and speak to. It is a modern kind of genocide. 41% of the books they hope to ban feature LGBTQ themes or characters. 40% feature protagonists and secondary characters who are people of color. But much as they might wish it, erasing the books won't erase the people.
Please be respectful.
Teachers and librarians have worked very hard to assure that there are books in our libraries that reflect the lives and experiences of everyone. When ideologues try to eliminate these books, they are trying to eliminate or marginalize people. They would silence the voices of those they disapprove of because they have a different viewpoint or because of their very identity. Like the Nazis of old, they attempt to justify this by labeling them pornography, which is just the modern term for degenerate. Authoritarian regimes always target culture. It happened in Germany, in Russia, in China. It happened in Iran, in Afghanistan. Don't let it happen
Please be
here.
respectful.
If you don't like a book, don't let your child read it. But don't try to decide for everyone else. You don't have that right. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Here's another book that's in our schools. Just as I love my child, I love your children, and I don't want them to have any of these books. This one's titled Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging, Confessions of Georgia Nicholson by Louise Renison. First one says, I think I've got the right to know if my dad is a transvestite. Mom said, calm down, Bob. Of course I respect you. It's just that it's quite funny to think of you as a transvestite. James tried to kiss me. It was disgusting. He's my cousin. It's incest. Jazz, are you suggesting that we go to a male prostitute? Why am I even thinking about this? No sign of Mark, the breast molester, when I got home, thank goodness. So this is what men are like. Well, that's it. Then I'm going to be a lesbian. How's your father? A boy's penis or penid, as I thought it was until I was 11. Well, you wanted to know. There's so many of these books. I mean, my goodness, I don't want my child reading this, and I don't want anyone else's children reading these as well. It's disgusting. It's scary. Do your children read these books? Did you guys approve these books to be put in our libraries? Apparently, they're being approved. So it's approved by who? Whom? Which of you have approved these books? This isn't the only one. There's a series of these books. There's a series of these books. They've even made a movie, okay? I don't want my child reading this. I don't want my child getting curious due to the people around him who are afflicting him with curiosities from these books. Okay, there's many books that have been mentioned tonight that should not be read by children nor adults. They should not exist. We are not banning books of regular nature. No, this is disgusting, perverse sexual nature that should not be pushed and pressed on our children. I don't want my child reading this. I don't want anyone's children reading these books. I don't want them available in our libraries. I don't want them available in our schools. I don't even want them to be considered for being read. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Eric Baldwin.
I'd love to say good evening, but it's just an evening at this point. So I've never attended any of these things, so this is all new to me. A bit nervous, but I'm fired up because there's a lot of things that pertain to me. I'm a parent of 3, and I'm just blown away. It's very sad. It's infuriating. I understand both perspectives, but I think a lot of this right now has come down to very impressive verbal gymnastics to spin a narrative that allows Pornhub in my kid's classroom. I'm not really about that. Education is one thing. You guys have no Wait, you guys have a problem with me saying words to our kids. They're okay. All these visions and really? This is nuts. You know what? That's okay. I'm gonna stop. Okay. You guys were all at one point someone's beautiful baby. Okay? And I'm gonna start there. But I have no idea how we got here. You guys can't even give me your attention. No, you talk about respect. You don't respect our kids, the community. I mean, I love teachers. Teachers brought me to where I am in life. They've taught me that the home that I lived in wasn't the same as everyone else's, okay? So I have a tremendous amount of respect, and I do believe that sports, NFL, all these overpaid athletes should not be paid more than teachers. But I also think there's a balance for people who aren't in contact with our children on a daily basis to have this type of influence. I've got nothing real positive to say. I really wanted to be positive. There's just no consequences. And I think all these issues we have are sociological, mental health, but there's so many other things that are contaminating us from the inside out.
Thank you.
Sean Frederickson, Noah Higuera, and Graham Frazier.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Frederickson. I have 3 children, 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old. I would never trust my children with them. You might ask me why, and I'll tell you. Because this is obviously a religious war. You talk about Christianity, the moment you mention the word, they'll writhe. Why? Because they don't want boundaries. They want to introduce whatever books they desire to introduce. Have they set a limit? No. The man said up because they have a definition of what's acceptable in public comment, but not in the public library. Why? They have no boundary. Look at what they will celebrate. They want your children to be mutilated at a young age because they love the idea of controlling these little children. Introducing ideas is their game. A 5-year-old, 6-year-old, the younger they can present a new idea for their experience so that Max can reproduce himself in someone else's form. It's disgusting. If you still have your kids in this public school system, expect them to look like this. Don't be so foolish to think they'll look like you, because who spends more attention, who spends more time with your kids? It's not the parent anymore because we're so overwhelmed trying to pay for your $250,000 a year. Are you kidding me? You're trying to introduce the same ideology you believe in the masses, just like them. I'm a Christian. Why do you not welcome Christians? Because you detest the boundaries which Christians live by. I get it. Acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. Until you look in the mirror and see, acceptance only goes as far as you're willing to accept and not the gospel. You need Jesus.
Noah Higuera.
Well said, Sean. So it's interesting that I'm here on a Tuesday night. I would think I'd be, doing something more productive than this, but, the classes come so low where a 19-year-old like me has to come up and address adults because what you guys are doing is just childlike. I find it a coincidence that you teach young men and women within this district to act on their feelings, and you inevitably identify them as their own personal feelings. It's okay that you're feeling depressed. Matter of fact, that is actually who you really are. Or you feel like your parents don't care for you? No, it's because they really never did care for you and you should be against them. Your parents are your enemies. It's okay if you feel scared. It's okay to be weak. This is a mindset that you're forcing these students to adopt. You're teaching them how to be vulnerable in the worst possible way. You're teaching the new generation of men and women that they don't have a duty or responsibility within life and that they can just act on their feelings and just act how they feel, and you don't have to act as a man or woman should. Let me tell you what happens when you have the men of your community act just upon their feelings. You get child predators, you get thieves, you get rapists, you get violence. Men who not control their emotions are dangerous. You find a man that is stoic, he isn't going to hurt the people around him. He is going to sit and think about his every action and very carefully analyze his next move. He's going to be a good man who is strong, fearless, and protects and provides for his loved ones and his family. That is what a true man should aspire to be. Not a man who's afraid of his own shadow and who looks to the school's curriculum to figure out who he is and what his own purpose is in life. These students aren't your kids. These are not your personal sons or daughters, so stop pretending to be their parent. Stop pretending that you care for them when all you care about is your paycheck and your deceptive ideologies. Alvarez, I want to touch on what you said earlier, saying thank you to the young lady who danced beautifully up here. You said thank you for being here and reminding us all what we're here, and that's for the students. Are we really here for the students? Or are we here for your derogatory, idealistic, vulgar worldviews to indoctrinate the next generation coming up?
Thank you.
I'm going to be kind to you tonight. I just happened to take a look at the school board's website, and I wanted to see what the duties were of the school board. I don't know if you've looked at it recently, but it's pretty limited and pretty broad. The broad responsibility, the main responsibility is for hiring the superintendent and instructing her to focus every district member and all resources on the goal of improving and maintaining student performance. I think the word achievement needs to be redefined. What do you mean by achievement? Certainly not test scores. So what is achievement on your website? Please take a look at that and expand it, because I'm hearing that achievement means much more than what most people think, and certainly test scores are not the main objective, it appears, because it's so low. The other area is the community members. It's under another topic on the website. Community members are encouraged to communicate with the school staff and the Board of Education. We're not encouraged, we're discouraged. You put us at the end of the meeting. I'm 82 years old, right? I got to drive home in the dark, okay? But one thing you have done for me, you've given me purpose to get rid of most of you and change some of your policies. And I'm very grateful for that, because it's going to keep me going for a long time. And the other thing I'd like to address something about.
Thank you. Thank you, Graham.
Eleanor, when are you going to call
Thank
me?
you, Graham. Thank you.
Messages, but
Thank you,
calling
Mr.
me.
Frazier.
And
Thank you, Mr. Frazier.
Beth, Bonham.
Why don't you want to call me, Eleanor? I'd be happy to meet you.
So you are done. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. But
And
call me. My wife has a disability, so please.
Okay. Can everybody hear me? Good. I'm going to read the end of my address to you. Do I have your attention? It's a prayer. God, I pray to bless
and
this
1 second, it's hard to hear you, so if you could hold it closer. Thank
God,
you.
I pray to bless the school trustees. Please let the board of this school listen to their constituents that they represent. One of you are my representative. I'll find out. I've tried to get in touch, but I can't. Let us all treat one another with respect and patience. May communications be open in this school district and be an example across the country. I then had written, Amen. I'm going to go back. I've had to tear things off. I was raised by a village. I was loved by that village and educated in that village. I graduated from high school at the age of 15 after studying chemistry, physics, mathematics, English, Latin poetry, and Shakespeare. Also, home economics, including budgeting. I'm a good budgeter. I really am. Also, art appreciation, social studies, agricultural, physical education, which I didn't like, and religion education. In all of this, my education, I have learned to make a meal, to grow produce, to make a fabric, to knit, to do all these things that I was trained to do. Please look at me. Thank you. Don't chew your gum either. Sex education was the responsibility of my parents. Besides my parents, there was the availability of my doctor, my grandmothers, my aunts, my minister's wife, and my godmother. Shame, shame on you.
Thank you.
Taking on the responsibility. Oh,
Thank you, Ann.
Really sad. And I'll call you and let you know what the rest of it is. And everybody that would like to know.
Come on. Good job.
Beth Barnum.
Thanks, Greg. Hi, my name is Beth Barnum. I was born and raised in Oceanside. I have a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old. And I can tell you this book that is in K through 8 on Camp Pendleton and the middle schools here in Oceanside is for young adults. It's called All American Boys. And I apologize if there are children in the room, if you want to turn that around. There are 42 apps. I don't speak that way in my house. We can't speak that way in my job. I know that you don't allow this on campus. Why would you allow a book that has this much profanity on the shelf for 6th graders? I can understand, yes, I have like I said, 15, 14-year-old, 17-year-old. Yes, they swear. They know it's not right. The more someone reads something, they think it's okay. What would the commandant say if he knew that this was in the books on Camp Pendleton? I don't need books to talk about racial prejudice, which this book does. It talks about inflammatory racial and social commentary, profanity, alcohol, drug use, and violence. How about Catcher in the Rye or To Kill a Mockingbird? Excellent books that bring up racism, but it's appropriate. It's a white man's book, yeah. So someone said, use your words properly, inappropriate words. These aren't appropriate. I cannot understand why people don't agree with that. I went back and read bios on the school board, and Raquel Alvarez, I have to agree. You said that you believe bringing the parents' perspective to the administrators of the district will help improve every child's educational experience.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Josh Townsend.
I don't know how to put this back.
Steve Sly, Madeline Morales, and Mindy Martin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Sly. I teach at Oceanside High School. My pronouns are he, him. A lot has gone on here, and I honestly signed up with not a lot in my brain on exactly what I wanted to say. I figured there might be some things to respond to. I guess all I really want to say is I, as an educator in this district, will continue to support all the LGBTQ plus students in my classes and at my school. I will use the pronouns that they want me to use. I will call them by the name that they want to be called. If anyone in the room disagrees with that or thinks that makes me a groomer or a pedophile or some sort of freak, then then that's, I'm sorry. It doesn't. You're wrong. I will continue to care for the kids that I see every day, and I'll continue to make sure that they have a place to be and exist. We're not pushing anything on anyone. It's simply listening and respecting. There's some guy, he talked earlier about opportunity and all these different things, and one way that you actually get opportunity is when you feel respected and heard and validated. And right now, there's around the country, we got a lot of folks who don't feel respected, heard, or validated, and it's really frustrating. So I will continue to respect and validate my students, all our students at OUSD. I appreciate the work that you guys are doing, and I'm just going to keep trying. I'm going to be honest, I'm a little freaked out. Like, this kind of scares me. Like, I shouldn't have to go to work feeling like someone's going to accuse me of something because I use the pronouns that a student wants me to use. So I will continue to do that. I have a lot of care for our students, and I appreciate the work that you guys are doing, and I'll keep doing the best I can. Thanks.
Thank you.
Madeline Wells. Mindy Martin. Emily Richmond. Emily Richmond. After Emily, we'll have Julie Stark and Cleta Rehas.
Okay. I am here tonight to hold the school board and the super. No, that's not mine. Okay.
She put that in the
I am here tonight to hold the school board and the superintendent accountable for the inappropriate books in our school libraries. The books we read to the school board last month contained explicit sexual activities, graphic pornography, and hate. A couple of books that were read tonight were, as you've heard, on the K-8s and also our Lincoln Middle School, Jefferson Middle School, and Martin Luther King Middle School. Our libraries are filled with uplifting books, overcoming diversity and contributions by all genders, races, ethnicities, culture, and disabilities, fulfilling the Fair Education Act, SB 48, which prescribes the inclusion of the contributions of these various groups in the history of California and United States. This is not about hate. This is about protecting all children and youth from the damaging materials which can affect them for the rest of their lives. These books use certain groups by portraying them in a demeaning light, in a way we would not want our children, our minor children, to be portrayed. Would the superintendent classify these books as contributions to the youth of our school district? Schools are supposed to have quality literature in school libraries to further their understanding in all curricular areas. It's time that the school district be transparent with our policies and the procedures concerning library books. How about highlighting some of these books on your website, a district website, to let parents browse and comment on it? Also, too, complaints will not be filed until we would be assured of a streamlined timeline in a timely manner to look at these books and not wait for 1 to 2 years to get through the process. When will the district realize that to understand?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Julie Sturk. I'm a longtime resident of Oceanside, and family members here who attend Oceanside School. My mother actually worked for Oceanside School. I am from the East Side. You guys should know that as Pozole. I'm a proud American, Mexican descendant of 2 immigrant parents who came here legally. Thank you, Lord. I grew up in my area. We had friends of all races. You know why? Because it didn't matter. We just had fun. That's all we cared about. And, you know, nowadays I see such a division happening. And that division started coming in when we started talking about how different everybody was. You know, that is wrong, and it's actually ridiculous, and it's doing nothing good for our children. Time and time again, I've been watching these school board meetings, and I've been listening to these kind people coming up here, these parents coming up here talking over and over because they want to be validated. They want to be heard because they're standing up for their children. And I see this time and time again, how you just totally ignore them. You don't pay attention to them. You don't listen to anything that they have to say. Actually, you make them feel like they're worthless. Yeah, that you don't care. And Mr. Blessing, I can't believe you actually cussed one of them out. That is actually so wrong and disgusting. And I'm looking at my time here to tell you that you only have a few more months. Maybe we had lost that last election, but this one is coming, and we're coming after your seat. Amen. I want to say one more thing, and that is that who's going to stand up for the straight, proud kids? Yeah? Yeah? Let's hear it for the traditional family.
You.
Amen?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm a straight, proud kid, okay? I'm a Catholic. I'm a Christian. I pray every night. I pray before every meal. But I'm embarrassed by the way you mention the gospel. Because to me, I live in Oceanside. I grew up here. And I'm
Will you please address the board? I'm so sorry.
yeah, no, please. But I really appreciate what you guys have done for the community of Oceanside because I didn't realize how bad it was until, I saw how good it's gotten. You know what I mean? My family has been, we're in this community now. You know what I mean? Because my sibling, my love, my brother, Eric, he brought my family into this community. And I appreciate everything you guys do to bring other families, to make them feel accepted and to make them feel loved, and to make their kids feel like they can be loved and that they can stay there. Now, my faith is something that's very important to me. And I don't want anyone in here to think that if you're a Christian or you're a Catholic or any of that thing, that you can't be a part of the community, that you can't be an ally, that you can't be anything. Because that's not what we're called to do. You know what I mean? And it hurts. It hurts to see this. So I won't take up any more of your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Gibbons, what was this young man's name? What was his name? Name?
I'm sorry?
His name.
Oh, Cleta?
No, his name.
You weren't on the list?
Oh, you just spoke.
Wow.
Cleta, are you speaking?
The next three speakers.
We have Cleta in the room. She didn't
she?
hear her name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good evening. My name is Cleta Riojas. I'm a pastor's wife and a mom. Really quick, since we have 2 minutes. School officials are required by state educational code to provide a moral education. You all obviously are not doing that. You have alternative morals, and from your, we obviously can know what your guys' beliefs are. So my question is, will you protect Christian students' rights? That's the question. Christian students' rights to not be exposed to what we've heard, and it's disgusting. I mean, I'm looking, and Raquel, you were smirking, and it breaks my heart because I know you. It breaks my heart when we're reading these books that you were smirking and laughing. I'm letting you know now that Oceanside needs to implement Christian Heritage Week, as well as, yes, Constitution Week. It is evident from the comments in the audience that no basic fundamental understanding of our country's history is being taught correctly. So, moving forward, we're talking about banning books. That was obviously the topic on one side. What about the Bible? What about bringing a historical book back into the public square? Then we'll talk about truth and let the children decide what is truth. because you are indoctrinating our children. They're not yours. You need to teach them the core subjects. What are the core subjects? Exactly. It is not your job, pay attention, it is not your job to teach our children sexual things that is perversion. My children doesn't even understand what the word porn is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick and Rose Segura and Rachel Bartlett, I think. Patrick and Rose, and then Rachel.
So it's been a long night. I'm pretty tired. But I don't hide behind the Bible there. So, you know, I'm a red-blooded, God-fearing, red-blooded, bleeding man, American man. And all we want is for you guys to do your job and raise the test scores. That's all we want, you know? Everyone needs to be treated equal. Everyone needs to be treated equal. We don't hate anybody. And you know, if I've come off that way, I'll apologize straight up front. I apologize. If I offended you, I'm really trying to get your guys' attention, okay? So if it's too much, I apologize. I'm man enough to look you straight in the eye and say, I apologize, and I apologize to you too, okay? But the point is, and I hope you guys hear it, we're here for the kids. We're here for the kids. That's what the bottom line is the kids. You know, I don't have a college education, but I worked darn hard my whole life, and I, you know, got the tools from high school to work hard. You know, had some great mentors, and I've made a pretty good living for my family. And, you know, a lot of people can do that too, but you have to have that base, that core, you know, of teaching. And it just seems like it's not happening in this school district. You know, I'm a San Diego native, been in Oceanside for 25 years, and, you know, I love it here. But that's what we're really here for. We're here for the kids, okay? So I hope you guys really hear my heart. I really hope you do, you know? I really hope you do, because it's not about race, gender, and anything like that. It's not. This is a school. Reading, writing, arithmetic, U.S. Constitution. That's what we want, okay? Just make it clear.
So, Vitelli, you said that we
Can
had
we
four
reset the
books,
clock, please?
I believe 4 books that were inappropriate. I don't think so. I have in my hand, I can show the audience, 27 pages of inappropriate books that you approved, and you did, Jordy Sparks. Okay, there's 190 books on this list. 83 of them are on LGBT, gender, identity, social justice, and tolerance, okay? That's overkill. That tells me there's an agenda. And also, we had an anonymous tip from a teacher that there was a student arrested at El Camino High for bringing a gun last week to school. It was taken from him, and parents of the school were not notified. I hope this is not true, because this is gross negligence on all of your part, and you guys are liable. This is pretty scary stuff. Parents filed the first lawsuit against California School District for violating the law. We are asking you, we are pleading with you, please remove these pornographic materials. Do not indoctrinate. Educate our kids. But the district is being sued here in California for illegally providing minders with inappropriate gender-affirming books and care. And if we need to, we will join other school districts in the lawsuit. Do your job or resign. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Rachel Bartlett. I am a proud queer parent of a 4th grade student at Surfside Academy. I am a devout believer in the separation of church and state. I want to thank each of you for building a district of inclusion, a district where students know that they are worthy, that they are enough, and that they are loved. My son attends the independent study program at Surfside, which means that I take a leading role in educating him along with the incredible teachers and administrators of OUSD. We aren't afraid of books. We aren't afraid of difficult conversations. We embrace them, we read them together, and we have our talks. I have an after-school political science class for my child and his peers where we discuss local issues, and I talk to these kids about what's happening in their lives and what's happening at school. In my experience, these kids do not carry the hate that I've seen in this room tonight. These kids are bringing love. Love for all types of people, love for the LGBTQ community, and I am so proud of the example that they are setting. So I'm not too worried about the hate here because the kids in OUSD are on the right track. I was introduced to queer education in college, and it opened up new worlds to me that weren't available back in the 90s when I was attending Vista Unified. So thank you for doing better for today's youth.
Samantha Viscount. Are you Samantha?
Excuse me, I just want to say something real quick.
Are you Samantha?
No. Liz?
Samantha Viscount.
Ah.
Jennifer Mayoli and Mimi Fong.
Yes, I am, ma'am.
Okay. I was like, who's who?
All right. Quick side note. I do go to school here in Oceanside. So I ask you this. Does my LGBT voice matter to you? I will begin by providing some important statistics that illustrate a few major issues. These issues both directly and negatively impact our LGBT youth. 36%, 33%, 26%, 31%. Good evening. My name is Samantha Viscount, and I am the Vista chapter lead for Gays Against Groomers. We are a coalition of lesbian, bisexual, gay, and transgender adults fighting against the indoctrination, sexualization, and mutilation of children under the pretense of inclusion. I am a bisexual, polyamorous woman and a survivor of childhood sexual assault and grooming. I am a survivor of that. Does my LGBT voice matter to you? Those statistics I just gave you represent our failing education system, which is a major LGBT-associated issue. You are setting our LGBT youth up for failure by obsessing over and forcibly indoctrinating these children about LGBT topics that they are not yet ready for. Instead, you should be teaching them critical life skills. Only 36% of fourth graders are proficient in math, only 33% in reading. Eighth graders, only 26% are proficient in math. Only 31% are proficient in reading. So why is your school district hell-bent on pushing LGBT agendas in the classroom when our children are not even meeting the mark with basic skills? You are placing/teaching pornographic content in schools and slapping an LGBT label on it. It's not LGBT inclusion. It's inappropriate. That is from a gay woman. I am a gay woman, and you do not speak for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey. Did I ask you? Can I speak?
Huh?
No, but may I speak?
No. Did you turn in a public? Did you turn in a form like this?
You have to turn.
I'm sorry, you cannot speak. It's Jennifer or Mimi.
All I just want to say is that you want to protect
Rachel White.
What about
Are we going to Jennifer?
Don't exclude.
Rachel White, are you in the building?
Where's Rachel?
Jet Fennell. What's your name? Rachel White. Okay.
Rachel White, okay.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rachel White. I graduated from El Camino High School in 1991. I went on to a Christian college, graduated in 1995 with a bachelor's in communication. I then went on to get an accounting degree from Maricosta College, and I just recently graduated with my master's in public administration from Park University. Yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, I support LGBTQ. Yes, I support students, and yes, I support you. The shenanigans in this room tonight is a disgrace. not only because Christians are taught to love, not only because we need to set an example for our students of how to behave as adults, but because we are capable of having an intelligent conversation about difficult issues that concern our culture and our society and our community in a civil way. There are people who are constantly talking about test scores whose kids did not grow up here. My brother is getting a hush, I'm speaking. My brother is getting a PhD right now and is a vice president of a university.
Respect, please.
And is a vice president of a university. He came through the Oceanside Unified School District. The scores in the Oceanside Unified School District are low because students are hungry. They are low because students are sleeping in their cars. They are low because there are parents who are struggling to make the bills, and because the students are in foster care who are being neglected, who are being forgotten about, who do not have representation. As Christians, as civilized human beings, and as educators, we need to speak up and be a voice for our foster youth who are constantly being left behind, who end up in jail, who end up exploited, and who end up voiceless. You want to raise the scores in the schools, pay attention to the children who are at risk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jack Fennell.
Hello, that is me. My name is Jet Fennell. I use they, them pronouns. I am the Gender Advocacy Project Coordinator at the North County LGBTQ Resource Center. It's a mouthful, I'm aware. I want to actually, ditto on Rachel's comments of wanting a civil conversation and there being a lot more nuance as to why the test scores are low. I think that I had some things to say. I had statistics I wanted to bring. And listening to everything that's been said, no one is being heard, and I am left feeling confused. I am left feeling confused about how a community moves forward when there is not an opportunity to understand each other. So all I can do right now is I'm gonna share 1 minute of my little queero life journey. I was 11 years old. I grew up Mormon in a family of 10 children, and I started to feel very depressed. I fasted and I prayed, as the religion I was brought up with told me to do. I had a dream where 2 of my siblings who passed away both put a hand on my foot and said, whatever you choose, you are special, you are valuable, and your path is amazing. And I went with that. But you know what? I still didn't have a safe space. I still didn't have a community. And so I just want to say to the folks who think that these books are too much to be had in schools, guess where I got most of my education about the world? South Park. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan Condra, Luis Uradel, and Melissa. Yes. Is Dan in the room?
Well, I think we're like down to like 8.
Oh. Luis? Okay.
I was like, I don't even know anymore.
This woke ideology of inclusion has opened up the floodgates to the absurd, and this absurdity threatens my kids and their future. Where's the line? Are y'all going to change the English language and what pronouns are? Is my daughter going to have to accept boys in the girls' locker room who decide to be a girl that day? This isn't what our kids need to be learning and dealing with in school. Look, California ranks 50th in literacy. That's last place for those that aren't paying attention. No wonder these numbers are so abysmal. There are so many hours in the school day, and you elevate pronouns over print and prefer gender over science and math. But don't worry. Oceanside Unified is right here for us, and they endorse books in the school library. They'll teach kids how to have gay sex and get on gay dating apps. Gay dating apps? What are we, educators or activist pimps? They have a word for this. It's called groomer. And that's what each and every one of you are as long as you endorse this. You're groomers. You use your relationship and position of trust with the students to exploit them into this radical gender ideology. You're supposed to be educators, not gender benders. Frankly speaking, this is what happens when you take God out of school. Y'all don't want religion, but you replace it with your own. A religion of you will accept how we feel, or you'll be labeled as a bigot, a homophobe, or a racist, even though none of those terms apply to you. Well, parents are going to start fighting back for the schools and for our children. And if you think someone that has an imaginary ideology puts up a fight, wait till you see the fight that parents put up for their children. There are no heights, there are no depths, there are no distances that we will not traverse for our children.
Melissa? Oh.
Good evening, school board, superintendent, and thank you very much for your patience this evening. My name is Melissa Ferrioli. I'm a lifelong North County resident, a mother of two, and my husband and I were Oceanside homeowners for 17 years, proud deacon at my church in Oceanside as well. Regardless of what any of us feel about how LGBT kids should receive care or support, the facts that we know are that nearly 1/3 of LGBT kids, youth, have attempted suicide, and at least once in the prior year, compared to 6% of their heterosexual peers. This is taken from cdc.gov. To deny support in the form of representation, including books, relevant education materials, is wrong, and it's taking steps away from freedom. Any movement away from freedom and towards censorship and lack of support are steps backwards and will not be tolerated. Thank you very much, board and Dr. Vitale.
Thank you.
Marcy Strand, Jason Coker, and Lisa Nava. Marcy, Jason, and Lisa.
Please get the politics out of your classrooms and the academics back in. As a member of Gays Against Groomers, I'm also a taxpayer and a mom. You've got an organization that is hired by school districts, including yours, to put teachers through what's called a special LGBTQ competency training. Meanwhile, according to the Department of Education test scores, 56% of the kids in your district failed English and 76% failed math. Is that acceptable? Oh, but the teachers who completed the LGBTQ competency training got a badge with the Trevor Project logo. For those of you who are not aware of the Trevor Project, they host anonymous chat rooms and invite children as young as 13 to chat with adult strangers about sexuality and gender identity. What could possibly go wrong? Kidnapping, child exploitation, and sex trafficking could be the result of Oceanside Unified's promotion of our alphabet community and sexual referrals. Stop it now. It starts with pronouns, advances to puberty blockers, and finally, from the classrooms to the operating rooms that many later regretted. What can you trustees do to protect your students? Remove Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Department. Remove all affiliates like North County LGBTQ Resource. And stick to academics so teachers don't need the district's liability of sexual harassment. Gays Against Groomers and taxpayers want you to get the sex and politics out of the classroom and academics back in.
Thank you.
Good evening, President, board members, superintendent. My name is Jason Coker, and I'm a resident of 15 years here in Oceanside. 3 daughters went to school here in Oceanside, Palmquist Elementary, Lincoln Middle School, and El Camino High School. Go Wildcats. I'm also a pastor here in Oceanside at the Oceanside Sanctuary. Our church has been around since 1875. We've been here longer than the city. For me, it's tragic and ironic that fearful, bigoted, and hateful things that will be spoken tonight against LGBTQ people in the name of God. The fact is, despite a long tradition of homophobia in Christianity, nothing, absolutely nothing written in Christian scriptures condemns LGBTQ sexualities or identities. But this is not an issue of faith or religion. It's a matter of public education for the well-being and flourishing of all Oceanside students. The fact is, whatever you believe about God, it is undeniably true that bigoted rhetoric places LGBTQ students at risk. The social stigma reinforced by these displays of ignorant hate contribute to disproportionately high rates of homelessness, substance abuse, and violent assault and suicide amongst LGBTQ people. LGBTQ youth have at least one accepting adult, are 40% less likely to report a suicide attempt in the previous year. Trans and non-binary youth whose pronouns are respected attempt suicide at half the rate. Research shows that earlier social transitions for trans youth show better long-term outcomes, but a hostile school environment leads to an increase in suicidal ideation.
Thank you.
Very simply, LGBTQ lives are at stake.
Good evening. I am honored and humbled to be standing in front of such a courageous elected board of trustees, and also to look Dr. Julie Vitale in the eyes and tell her how much I respect her as a person and the work that she does here in the school district. Tonight, I had statistics, I had a story, but as my heart opened and broke for this community and these people that are in it, I'm here to say thank you to you for standing the line for our LGBTQ kids. I am responsible for the meme or the graphic that went out from the North County LGBTQ Resource Center, and I am the person that said anti-LGBTQ haters, because all I have seen from the other side is the othering of my family. And if you're gonna come for my family, we are gonna come for you, and we will be here at the school board to support you, to support our LGBTQ kids so they feel valued and they feel deserved of every single piece of education they get. I'm gonna leave you with my last words from our keynote speaker at Pride by the Beach, and that is, when Oceanside School District sees our kids and believes in them, they believe in themselves, and they are invincible, just like you.
We have 5 more speakers to go. Janelle Schlosser, Katie Ho, and Simon Guzman. Janelle, Katie, and Simon.
Hello, I'm Janelle Slacer. I'm an education specialist in Oceanside Unified Schools District, and I am here to be an upstander for the LGBTQ students, the staff, and the community. People who identify in this community are part of our whole community, and we are better for it. As a teacher of students with exceptionalities, I know the importance of being included, as all of our students and staff need to feel included, respected, represented, safe, and supported. Those who identify with the LGBTQ+ are not feeling any of these. Because of this, we have the need for the books, the curriculum, the discussions, the difficult conversations, and any other way to represent and support them. I know that books, curriculum, and discussions do not recruit, do not groom, they do not convert. As a parent of students who went to this school district, I know that my children and their friends had been enriched by inclusion within the LGBT community. As a parent, I support the LGBT books, the clubs, the curriculum, anything else we can give. And as personally speaking, as a young student in college, the majority of my friends identified as gay. And as a group, I experienced, along with them, hate speech, verbal teasing, and even I was threatened by violence by a person who wasn't able to tell whether I was male or female. And through this, though, I did learn empathy, understanding, and how to endure through this. As a human being, I'm devastated that humans are terrorizing and threatening others in this country over such matters. And
Thank
I am
you.
an ally.
I'm sorry,
and
thank
stand
you.
up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Katie Rowe.
Good evening. I just really wanted to thank you for the presentation that we've seen today when you had the information up there about the laws that you were upholding by protecting people's rights and by adding or supporting the inclusive materials. I really appreciated hearing from, I'm sorry, I don't recall her name, but the teacher that came up and shared all of the different activities that she's been involved in, the books that were meaningful to her. I read probably 80 books a year. That's a lot of books. I do a lot of reading, and it really enriches your life to learn about different cultures, different communities, and to experience things that you might not experience yourself. That grows empathy and enriches our lives. And having books, there was one comment about, there were 90 books about LGBTQ kids in a library full of thousands of books. So how many in the entire library were about LGBTQ kids? So we have to look at, it's not the 180 that were added, it's the entirety of the library. So I just wanted to commend you, especially for the patience for the very long meeting and listening, that you are supporting our kids, all of our kids. And I do think Christian Week is a good idea. We should have a Christian Week and a Muslim Week and a Jewish Week. We should learn about all these things. And Christian Week would be a great week to read the Bible. So anyway, thank you very much for your support of all of the children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Someone dropped a heart. So I want to start off by saying, God bless America. We're seeing democracy in action, right? And it's painful sometimes, but there's so much beauty. And so thank you for listening to everybody and for everybody for raising their voices. We all have the right to free speech, and we're all given that right because of our Constitution. It gives us inalienable rights, and I think that's why many of us are here. And it brings me to the topic of why we do not censor books and why we do not censor the lives and the representation of everyday Americans, because that's who we are. So my name is Simon. My pronouns are he, him. I was born and raised here in Oceanside. I started school at Palmquist Elementary. I'm also transgender, and I'm the person that a lot of folks vilify, but I'm actually not that scary. My dogs will also agree with that. And I wanted to speak mostly because I wanted to the kiddos who are either watching this recording or they're here tonight. I just want to tell you all that I see you and I love you, and there are so many people. I promise you, there's so many adults who respect your agency and who you are. And so I just want you to know that every medical association in this country supports you. Civil rights and constitutional defenders organizations defend you. They are behind you. Counselors, healthcare providers, they stand behind you. And you've heard from your own teachers and folks here that they're with you, so don't give up. It's gonna get better. With that, I just wanted to share and to the board to encourage you to continue to support our trans and non-binary students. This is not supporting LGBTQ rights should not be an impact and should not be pinned against supporting survivors. In fact, over 40% of the LGBT community are survivors of sexual violence. So let's actually invest more to educate folks to prevent these things and for all of us to have safety and the dignity that we deserve as people who are just human beings. So thank you so much. And again, God bless America.
Thank you.
Johnny, Ramon, and Zoe Gutierrez.
You say Johnny Ramone? I did. That's right. All right, everyone. My name is Johnny Ramone. I'm from Monterey, California, but I moved down here for university in the last few years. And I'm an emerging author, speaker, politician in the San Diego area. And these are the kinds of dialogues that we need to have and the discourse we need to have in this culture. But I've been called upon tonight to speak on behalf of the youth of the nation here, and we allowed the Catholic to speak, and so now the Protestant is going to be able to speak tonight. So you guys believe that this is progression in the nation, and I would say to you tonight that this is arguably the greatest regression in our society since January 22nd of 1973 with the handing down of Roe v. Wade. And the wickedness has only become greater and greater. And you believe that these are the solutions to the problems that are facing my generation. But you're so blinded by your own iniquity that you are the central problem that is plaguing my generation. Now, I'm going to make a set of public declarations here. When Moses addressed the people of Israel, he addressed them publicly. When Joshua addressed the wickedness of the nation of Israel, he addressed them publicly. And when Jonah addressed the city of Nineveh, from the king down to the servant, down to the slave, the whole city repented. And I'm calling that right now, in this moment, a moment of repentance. It doesn't have to end this way. You can still come to the cross. It doesn't have to end this way. And the scoffers and the laughers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Zoe Gutierrez.
And repeat the name, please.
Can you say your name?
Oh, I'm Zay Gutierrez, non-binary, they, them. I go to Surfside.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Fill out a
You
card.
should probably ask. Incompetence. Anyways. There's a lot of stuff I want to touch on, but I don't have enough time for that. So basically what I want to start was with, I was really depressed in middle school, and you know why? Because I didn't know my identity, I didn't know who I was, I didn't know what I wanted, I didn't have present parents, I had nobody to lean on, and the only resources I did have later, which in high school, unfortunately in middle school, I didn't have this type of education, I didn't have the ability to gather this information for myself to find out who I am. And yeah, for straight people, cis people, it's so easy because sorry to say, but a lot of cis people have parents that are present, so that's why life is so easy for them. And I don't know, as a trans person, it's I don't know, it's kind of whatever, but also I'm kind of just numb to all the problems. I don't know, it sucks that we can't coexist as everyone. We all have differences, everyone's different in every different way, blah, blah, blah. But why does it have to be a war between so many minorities and people who also aren't minorities? There's just always, anyways, I don't think world peace exists. And, and also, Miss Vitale, Dr. Vitale, sorry. I appreciate you for coming to Surfside to look at the GSA group and everything. I noticed that you do take initiative and you do care about the community. And also the book thing, what was I gonna say? I agree. I feel like the education system could be better because it has failed me so many times. I did not learn anything in math, English, science, the core education things that you do guys mention. I've all failed. Why? Because the teachers. And it's actually mainly at Oceanside High School. Sorry to call you guys out, but yeah. Anyways, don't have time, but thanks for listening, and ACAB.
Thank you.